How's it going, everybody? So I'm back, the dude, Darren Yoho, with another deck tech. This time I have a special treat. It's going to be the one and only Nicol Bolas themed Horde deck. Yes, you heard it, Nicol Bolas themed Horde deck. Now, mind you, I did the best I could with what I got. I thought it would be fun. We'll start with my tokens first. I thought it would be fun to go minions, like a 2/2 minion, and dragons of various sizes. And we'll get into the sizes. But I couldn't find any 2/2 minion tokens anywhere in my area. Shit, I don't even know if one exists. But a good 2/2 body I found. We're doing various extensive testing. 2/2 body works for your good little guy kind of token. So I figured there was a lot of things I could do with zombies, so I thought I would go with that. For numbers, I have 45 zombies. So 45, 4, 5 little zombie tokens. They're just plain Jane 2/2s. You can put whatever artwork you want on them. I just picked up whatever zombie I could find. Shit, I don't care. For the dragons. Now, dragons was a fun idea because I thought it would theme with Nicol Bolas, being he is himself a dragon. He's kind of like the king of all tyranny and evil, and dragons epitomize that. I mean, they're tyrannical and evil and vicious and primal and just they're nasty. And a lot of the dragons are big. I didn't even know a 4/4 dragon existed until I started doing the research into the Horde deck. But they all have flying, and that mechanic, flying, adds a really cool dimension to Horde decks. Because in comparison to, for example, the standard stock, zombie-based Horde deck, it's very easy to beat. It really is. And when we were playing the zombie-themed Horde deck, which kind of got me started on this, we were kicking its ass up and down the street. I mean, yeah, every once in a while it would get us a little bit. Yeah, we'd get down low in life. But we would eventually come back and just throttle it because all they had was 2/2s and 5/5s. Just ground and pound. And a lot of it was very mindless, not very interactive, I guess, with the players. I went an interactive route. I wanted my deck to interact with the opponents, with us, the players. So that was a big key card, or not card, but a big key factor in building this. So has to be interactive. I want it to be fun, and it is actually a lot of fun. But flying, I mean, flying is something that even in Commander, sometimes if you're not ready for it, it could stomp your ass, and you got to prepare for that. You got to prepare for everything in Commander. You're running in multiplayer pods and big format decks, and the sky's the limit really with design. So you got to make sure you're prepared. But I have 7 4/4 flying dragons. They're kind of like the mid-range kind of zombie, well, not zombie, mid-range flying creature. So 7 of these bad boys, 4/4 flying dragons. 45 zombies, 7 of these. So then we go to our slightly bigger dragons. Oops, I'm getting my tokens messed up. Slightly bigger dragons. These are 5/5 dragons. These are a little bigger yet. Again, it's hard to scale for power as well, because in my meta, more often than not, people are running competitive decks, and that's something that Horde Magic can't do. I mean, Horde decks are made to be played in a very fun setting, and that's where the zombie Horde deck would do a lot better, and with more casual decks than more competitive decks. So it's hard to scale it to meet that power requirement for the players in my group. We're all running good decks, and it's just, like I said, it's hard to scale it. But the 5/5, 4/4, and then next step up 5/5 dragons, and then you get your base creature is a 2/2 zombie. So I got 12 of these bad boys. 12 of these little nasty 5/5 dragons. And it's kind of funny that I have more of these than less of these and more of the 4/4s, but it actually works out very well with 5/5 flying dragons. Next, I have one singular 6/6 monstrous flying dragon. He's kind of like what I feel as the elder of the dragon brood, even though Nicol Bolas is the elder dragon. But he's kind of like the eldest, the greatest of the worms. So one of these bad boys kind of adds for a little fun, like, oh shit, like that's a 6/6 flying dragon coming our way. Then, just for a little extra fun, I added 3 of the Vraska Assassin tokens. These are super fun, and they add a little bit of an extra element to the game. I mean, whenever they deal combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. So if it touches anybody, they're dead. Now this circumstance does rarely ever come into play. Rarely ever. Honestly, it's just a 1/1 that you have to block. Like, you have to designate a block to this, or the whole team fucking loses. So it's kind of super fun in that aspect, that even though they're just 3 1/1s, you have to block them or you're gonna be dead as shit from a 1/1. So that's kind of fun. I figure, you know, that kind of goes with Nicol Bolas. He'd want to assassinate somebody. That's something he would do. I could see that happening. I also have a 5/5 zombie giant token somewhere floating around here amongst my piles. Maybe I dropped it, I don't know. But there's one of those as well. One singular 5/5 zombie giant. I kind of thought that would be like the 6/6 dragon. It'd kind of be like the special zombie. So now we're going to get into my non-token lists. Total tokens, I have 67 tokens, okay? 67 tokens. 45 zombies, 1 zombie giant, 3 of the assassins, the Vraska assassins, 7 4/4 flying dragons, 12 5/5 flying dragons, and 1 massive, monstrous 6/6 flying dragon. 67. So, non-token cards. What Horde deck that's Nicol Bolas themed would not be complete with Nicol Bolas himself commanding his armies? This is a super fun card that I thought was fun with Nicol Bolas, since you kind of run Horde decks that they have infinite mana of any kind. They just cast their spells as though they had infinite mana. I figured we can just kind of fudge the rules for this, you know, upkeep cost. Say they pay it every time. That's fair. That's fine. It's for fun. This is a fun format, right? Right. His second ability, whenever he deals combat damage to an opponent, they dump their hand. That I roll at random. Being, say, what I have this deck set for is for 3 opponents. 3 opponents. At 2 turns each, and then the Horde goes. So when Nicol Bolas goes to attack one of these 3 opponents, I random roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you want to do. Randomly choose who dumps their hand. So that way, it can be anybody. I mean, the Horde deck doesn't make decisions. It chooses at random if it has to choose. I tried to make as little choosing as possible with this deck, but this was a fun element I thought had to be in it. I mean, he's Nicol Bolas, bro. It had to go in. Random roll that opponent dumping their hand. So now we're going to get into Nicol Bolas' little commander and partners in crime, okay? Kolaghan, the Storm's Fury, themes very strongly with a Nicol Bolas themed Horde deck. I mean, he's red-black, he's a dragon, a special dragon. He eventually becomes an Elder Dragon himself, and his ability is actually extremely powerful, especially buffing up your zombies, your other dragons. Oh man, it gets nasty when you get multiple dragons out. So this is a fun element that could either be a dud, where just he comes out with a few zombies, or it could be really shitty and he can come out with like 3 or 4 dragons, and there goes half your life total. So he's fun. Then we got Silumgar, the Drifting Death. I'm very partial to Silumgar myself. When this set came out, he was my it card. I loved it. He's got flying and hexproof, so that makes him not easily removable. So the team can't just go like, bam, you know, you're dead. Doomblade, whatever. Can't Doomblade him, but you know what I mean. So he's got hexproof, so that means you have to block and kill him. And he's got a 7 butt. That's a big fat ass. That means he ain't going down easy. But his ability, again, defending player controls, get -1/-1 for each dragon that attacks. Random roll that. See which of the 3 people get that minus to their creatures. Make it random. That's what makes it fun. It's a little interactive in that way. Caravec the Merciless. This was a last-minute decision that I thought kind of went well with the theme. I mean, it's Nicol Bolas, ultimate tyranny, ultimate evil, suffering, chaos, destruction, death. That's Caravec the Merciless. He's merciless. Nicol Bolas is merciless. But I thought that he added a fun element to the game with his dealing damage when people cast things. Random roll that. I know it may seem a little tedious, but it's actually not that bad because people will hold off on casting spells just so their stuff or their faces don't get bolted. So that's a fun element to the game. Marquesha the Black Rose, a little footnote, this would actually be a Mind Slicer. Mind Slicer. But I was nice and traded my Mind Slicer away to a friend of mine, so I had to replace the card slot with something else. Marquesha I thought was fun because she's Grixis colored. She's kind of like that mystical, unknown evil. Like you never see her coming until she poisons your taco and you're dead. But the Dethrone is fun because the Horde deck doesn't have a life total. Only the opponents have life total. So they're always going to have the highest life total because they only have life. They're the only ones who have life here. So that's always going to trigger. Now, the tokens won't come back. They'll just get a little bump up every time they swing. +1 counter every time they attack. So that's cool. They don't have to deal combat damage, just attack. But in those cases where you do hit other things like Silumgar or Kolaghan or Nicol Bolas or Caravec or what have you, that returning it to the battlefield on your next end step, that's actually kind of a little bit of resiliency with this. So it's a very fun addition. Utvar Hellkite. Utvar Hellkite is a very powerful card that is just a threat as soon as he hits the board. Being able to make all your dragons clone themselves into big 6/6 dragons is a huge deal, which needs to be taken care of immediately or you'll die soon. Undead Warchief. He's a smaller end guy that actually does a lot of work with giving all your zombies, your 45 zombies +2/+1. So he makes all them zombies actually pretty nasty. Havoc Demon. Havoc Demon was a fun choice that I thought he fit the theme where, you know, he comes out, he attacks, he's a demon, you know. I could see Nicol Bolas hiring this guy, you know. He comes to the job interview and he's got this little, like, stuff coming out of his mouth and some things on his head. He's got some nice hair here. He obviously cares. I don't know if those are horns or hair or what, but he cares. So Nicol Bolas hires him because he says, you know, I think we got a spot that you would fit perfectly amongst my tyrannical army. So he hires him. And what the Havoc Demon does is he actually fits a very unique role where if people block and kill him, he can wipe away all of Nicol Bolas' horde damn near. I mean, minus a handful of things will die to this. So that can be good for the players, and it can be a rattlesnake for the players that if they block him or if they kill him or something, Havoc Demon could wipe away all the defending, all the players' field. I mean, and then the next turn, you know, the Horde deck rifles out some tokens. That could be a bad deal when you have no blockers. So Havoc Demon is a very situational card that works for and against the players. Butcher of Malakir. I added him in here because I wanted that risk. You know, is the reward worth the risk, or what is the reward? I block and kill a zombie, and then I have to sack a creature anyway. That's not a good trade. But you know what? Nicol Bolas doesn't fight fair. He fights to win. He fights to create suffering. I'll write that right here. Suffering. There, see? He makes suffering. And that's exactly what the Butcher does. Reign of the Pit. Reign of the Pit's fun. It's also an interactive card. For each player, counting the Horde, so random roll which creature the Horde selects. That's an easy thing to do if you got dice. Everybody's got dice. But everybody loses one. This is kind of a smaller end card, really, for this format, this deck. Each player sacks a creature. It gets a big creature that flies equal to the total power of the creatures sacrificed. That's fun. Pox. This is a more recent addition, and really, in my meta, like I said, there's more frequently a competitive deck, or kind of more towards the competitive scale. I'd say, you know, if 0 was the weak, and 100 was the strong... Oh, I can't write here. Strong. Then I'd say most decks around here are probably about 80. I'd say they're about 80, 75 to 80, yeah, give or take. So they're kind of on the stronger end of the spectrum, but they're not like Combo Azusa, which is totally not fun with a Horde deck, just letting y'all know. But Pox really, it does a shit ton of work in the right situation, and again, the Horde deck has to sack stuff too, but the players sacrifice more. Siphon Flesh, another one of those little cards. Everybody sacks a creature, and I get a bunch of zombies that come out swinging. Plague Wind. There's only 2 cards in here that really destroy creatures. We got Plague Wind, hits everything the Horde doesn't have, and Ingaruk's Wake. Again, I mean, this hits everything that's not in not in Nicol Bolas' army. He ain't gonna kill his own troops unless he really wanted to, and then he would. But these are not fair, and Nicol Bolas doesn't play fair. So sorry if you thought Nicol Bolas was gonna just lose things. No, he's gonna make you lose things. So that's what he do. Scrambleverse is a super fun card. Again, it's actually surprisingly easy to random roll this. You just go around the table for each permanent, and if there's 3 opponents, then that means there's going to be only 4 total people, counting the Horde deck. So then you take a D4 and you random roll a D4, and that's where the permanents go. Simple. Roll a D4, that's who gets it. Throws such a wrench in the plans. I've seen this backfire for the players and the Horde deck alike, so it's a really fun card. Very interactive. Rise of the Dark Realms. I have actually never hit this with the Horde deck, surprisingly enough, and oh man, I couldn't imagine, like... Now, of course, it doesn't bring back the token, sorry, but it brings back everything else, and everything else of everybody else's. Never hit it yet. So now we're going into our enchantments, our Chaos Enchantments. Heatstroke. Heatstroke is one of those cards that Nicol Bolas would employ. You know, you can block my creatures, sure, but if something blocked or was blocked, doesn't matter, they both die. They have Heatstroke, so they die. Planar Chaos. Now this fits the bill. I mean, Planar Chaos. Nicol Bolas is causing chaos among the planes. So this is perfect. First off, it's super interactive. Whenever anybody, even the Horde deck, casts a Heatstroke, you gotta flip a coin. If you win, you get it. If you lose, you lose it. This often doesn't stay too long. I suck at coin flipping, so usually this will stay around for maybe 2 or 3 turns and it'll go, but it's a super fun card to play. Total War. This is an oldie from Ice Age that whenever a player declares an attack, you destroy all untapped creatures that aren't walls that you controlled since the beginning of the turn. So it doesn't hit everything if you just cast something. Obviously, it has summoning sickness, you can't attack with it. It doesn't destroy those things, but don't think that your Oracle Moldiah is going to sit back. No, you're going to attack with it, or Total War is going to totally blow it the fuck up. War's Toll. Nicol Bolas doesn't give 2 shits about the War's Toll on his troops, but he don't care. It's Nicol Bolas. So whenever you do something, you do all those things. You tap land, you tap all your lands. You attack with everything. It's an all or nothing. This is super fun and interactive, both of these cards, because these mean one thing. You're not going to have any blockers unless you don't attack. So either you attack the Horde deck and get your shots in where you can, or the Horde deck's coming full force and you ain't stopping it. So that's a fun little fact there, and boy, I'll tell you, it works. Bedlam. Creatures can block. That's basically what Nicol Bolas does. Sometimes quantity, in the absence of quality, is good enough. That is some Nicol Bolas shit right there. Nicol Bolas stuff. And another one. And maybe another one. Now, this is where the Vraska tokens become extremely bad. You hit a Vraska token when Bedlam's out, unless you can do something like lightning bolt, I don't know, whatever you want to use for removal on the token, instant speed removal of this, whatever you can do, you better do it, because that assassin's going through, boom, you're dead, you lose, get out. No Mercy. No Mercy is fun because I thought Nicol Bolas and Caravec the Merciless literally don't have any mercy whatsoever. So whenever you attack Nicol Bolas' army, he is not shedding a bit of mercy. We had years to prepare while they had mere minutes. Pretty nice. Painful Quandary. You don't quandary about Nicol Bolas' army, because it will be painful. Whenever an opponent only casts, they lose. This is an awesome card. I love this card. It's one of my favorite black cards, Enchantments. It's fun in decks. I mean, not just a Horde deck. And that usually sticks around for a good long time because people don't feel it's a threat immediately until they have to discard 2 or 3 cards, and then they're like, okay, this shit's got to stop. Tide of War. Tide of War is a fun interactive enchantment. You flip a coin whenever one or more creatures blocks, and the Horde deck, of course, doesn't block. It doesn't have a mind. It just goes forward. Now, whenever you block, you flip a coin. If you win, the defending player sacks all blocking creatures. If otherwise, the attacking player sacks the blocked creatures. So somebody's losing something no matter what, and it's at random. Taking the choice out of the player's choice. That's what Nicol Bolas does. Grave Betrayal. That's pretty much another good Nicol Bolas-y card. I mean, he betrays people. You can't trust that Elder Dragon for nothing. So I like to think that that's a grave betrayal. Witch Hunt. Witch Hunt is actually a very underpowered card in this. For one reason, is that it doesn't really do a whole lot. The one thing that it does is players can't gain life. Will like to note life gain. Life gain will wreck the hell out of a Horde deck. Any kind of Horde deck. People, if you have a major source of life gain, that'll buy you the time to stabilize against this deck. Like in any Horde deck in general, this puts a stop to that. And this card really, it shuts those game plans down right away. It really doesn't do much other than the 4 damage, which does hurt the Horde deck too on every other turn basically. But the Horde deck doesn't gain life. It doesn't have a life total. Only the players. And I'll tell you what, life gain of any kind against a Horde deck and you are set. Possibility Storm. Oops, sorry. Possibility Storm. That is a fun card that it can really mess people's days up if they can't prepare for it. They can't deal with this. Whatever you cast, you're not getting. Goes with the Horde deck too, but the Horde don't care. The Horde just goes. So you have to prepare for Possibility Storm if you can, and it's actually really hard to deal with. Impulsive Maneuvers, one of my fan favorites from this deck. Basically, whenever a creature attacks, it works for everybody. Flip a coin. If you win, it deals double damage during combat only. If you lose, the damage is prevented. It's basically double or nothing. Impulsive Maneuvers. You make a hasty decision against Nicol Bolas, you better be prepared for complete disaster because it could be prevented. Or you can get lucky and pull the wool over Nicol Bolas' eyes and deal double damage to his Horde army. Choices are not up to you. It's random. Furnace of Wrath. I like to consider this Furnace of Murder because that's basically what it does. It deals double damage for everybody. Horde deck, the players, everything is doubled. So it's a good choice card that it could be in, it could be in your favor or it can be extremely not in your favor. So, and plus things like these, they do stack double to double. Gratuitous Violence, another double damage thing that I think kind of goes with Nicol Bolas' army aspects. I mean, he is a fan of a gratuitous amount of violence. Doubles the damage for his stuff. A gratuitous amount of violence. Dictate of Erebos. I like this card just the same as I like Butcher of Malachor. It makes you have to choose. Do I take the damage from this zombie or this dragon or Kolagon or shoot, I don't know, Nicol Bolas, or do I kill it, block it, destroy it, and each opponent sacks a creature. That works for every player. So choices and decisions. Can we do this? What should we do? Take the damage or lose a lot of creatures. And Grave Pact. Again, making them choices. Do we block and save our life total and lose our board presence, or do we save our board presence and take a chunk of life? So there are choices. Everybody say it with me. Choices. Choices. It all barrels down to choices. I wanted this deck to be interactive, and I found it to be extremely, extremely interactive. A whole lot of fun. So please sleeve it up and give it a try. Tell me what you think, and let's talk. Let's talk Nicol Bolas Horde Deck.